Hey guys, William here again with Patriot Containers. My last video that I did this morning was what is a bad cargo container company. A lot of the information that I'm giving on YouTube is very repetitive. I work in an industry where we sell and deliver cargo containers, and 90% of cargo container companies are not doing with what's best for the companies, or I'm sorry, for the customers, but they only do what's best for their company and their employees. Patriot Containers is the exact opposite of that. Customers always come first, shipping lines come second, drivers come third, and Patriot Containers is last. That's why I've been in business for 11 years and I don't have any actual complaints of real buyers, and I've sold 15,000 containers in 11 years. That being said, what is a good company? If you're finding my videos before you bought a container, 9 out of 10 companies that you guys are talking to are going to rip you off. They're going to sell you junk. They're going to take way too long to deliver it. And they will sell you a horrible product. And on their website is this thing called terms and conditions at the very bottom. It's hard to find it. You click on it and read it. And all the lies that they told you can be told, but they don't have to honor them because of the terms and conditions on their website. So back to what is a good company. I started my business because I wanted to be a good company. And it is rare for you guys to call a cargo container company and they're going to do every single thing from start to finish correctly. It's near impossible to find. That's what I do. So if you pick up the phone and dial Patriot Containers, you're going to get me on the phone. I don't have a single employee at all. If you speak Spanish, you can talk to my wife. She's from Ecuador. But when I sell something, and again, I don't want to make this about Patriot Containers, but I do run my business this way. You should be able to call a company and deal with an honest person that's going to describe these containers correctly and then sell it to you correctly. There should be no sales pitches. There should be no lies. And the service provided should be correct. So I try my hardest to not make my educational awareness videos about me and sound selfish. I don't want to sound conceited. But I am passionate and I do care about this industry that's getting worse and worse and worse for customers buying a container. So I'm doing something about it with these videos, and nobody else is doing videos like this. The owners of these crappy companies, they hide and they don't have their fingers dabbling in the crooked sales that they do, and they run away and they have employees to handle it for them or not handle it. And they don't handle problems well. They run away from it. But when you're buying a container, everybody wants a container with no holes. There's bad containers with no holes, and then there's really bad containers with holes. And you will get one if you buy from, you will get a bad container with holes if you buy from the wrong company. The true terminology of inspections that these containers go through, that us container companies purchase, it's on an invoice. It's on the paperwork. It's on the release number that the driver needs to go pick it up. If you buy a cargo container based off of price, you're going to buy a crappy container. If you put condition first and price second, there's a possibility, if you're going with a company with morals and standards, that you will get a good container. A lot of companies don't have morals and standards. Patriot Containers does. So the definition of a good company, you call them, they do not lie to you. They tell you the truth. There is no sales pitches. There is no pressure. There's nothing to sign. There's no terms and conditions on their website that basically says that they can get away with anything. When companies have that, they're protecting them and not you as a customer. So from the very beginning, a good company should sell the container correctly. Now, what I do is, because I'm a business owner operator and there's no other employees here, when you're placing an order with me and we've established that you're going to get the right container that's not going to make you upset, and I want you to be happy when the container arrives. Before your order, during your order, or minutes after your order, I must pick up the phone and call a driver and say, hey, I have a container going to this location. What day can you do it? If your order's already placed, I'm going to tell the driver to put me on his calendar. If you need to know this information before you order, which you should know with what day your container is actually going to be there before your order. I have no problem with calling my driver while you're on the phone, and we can all listen to each other, and you can listen to the dates that he or she has available, and you can pick the day that's the actual day that's going to arrive. When I purchase containers, I purchase better containers than wind and watertight. I purchase cargo worthy, real cargo worthy ones. Some of these companies, they say cargo worthy, but they're delivering you as is, and if you're lucky, wind and watertight. I also purchase new ones. I don't, how do I say this? There's no pressure when calling me. It's okay to not buy a container from me, but I do want to help you, and I do want to tell you the truth, and I do want your container to arrive on the right day, and I want it to be hassle-free and easy. A good company communicates very, very well and is always there to talk to you, even if there's a problem. They don't avoid it. They run to the problem to address it right away. If you have in this industry of cargo containers, they're 5,000 pound 20 footers and 8,000 pound 40 footers. If there's a problem and you run away, the problem gets worse. This is an industry that has problems. You can avoid them or you can create them. I do everything I can in my book to avoid every problem that can happen for my customers. Everything. It's less work to do that. Now, back to these other companies that don't do scheduling correctly and they take months to deliver. They should take your order and then have that order go to an employee that does scheduling, and they should pick up the phone with the driver and have that scheduled within minutes after their order. But they don't do that. They take your order, they tell you somebody's going to call you some days, sometime, and I read a lot of complaints that they don't call you. You have to call them eventually and then pester them to do their job. You don't get that service with Patriot Containers. Everything from the I've had customers placing an order with me, and the order's already done. The container's already locked up. It's already scheduled. Everything's done within minutes. And it's a very, very, very easy process. Before I deliver my containers, I call all my drivers the day before, the business day before, and I say, hey, you're going here. What time do you think you're going to be there? Some drivers are very, very, very good at that. Not only the hour, but sometimes by the minute. Some drivers are horrible, but as long as the container is delivered on the right day, that's what I care about the most. So a good company is not sales and lies. A good company is a company that has morals and standards, that purchases the real product, that has quality, that looks good. It doesn't have to be new. If you order a new one, it needs to be a new one. If you order a used container, there are good used ones. They cost a little bit more money, but they make customers happy. Purchase those containers for your customers and you will have less complaints. Have your containers scheduled right away. You know, I read a complaint not too long ago on somebody that ordered and this is in one of my videos, where they ordered 2 months in advance. If you called me and you needed a container 2 months in advance, you can pick the day your container is going to arrive. Literally, if you call me in a month in advance, you can pick the day your container arrives. If you want it as soon as possible, I have to call my driver and figure out with what day he has soonest as possible for your order, and then that's the day we're going to deliver. But the complaint that I was reading earlier in a previous video was a customer that ordered 2 months in advance, and he flew to another state to be there for 2 weeks. That container should have arrived, but they never scheduled this container. I don't know why. I do know why. They're complete idiots. That's why. They don't know how to do an operation correctly. All they had to do was say, hey, we got a container. Our customer is going to be here in this time frame. We need you to deliver it between this day and the 14th day, any day. And I guarantee you 100% they had that date available. No drivers are pushed out by 2 months. And it would have been done. And then, none of us container companies want our containers to sit there longer than 30 days or the shipping lines start losing their mind. But they could have had it scheduled, and then they could have purchased the containers 20 days in advance and had it done. They just didn't do that. It's because they run a shit show operation of sell, but we can't do anything on the back end. So what does Patriot Containers do? You call me, I tell you the truth. I tell you what not to buy. I tell you with what is going to make you upset and why I don't sell it, because I don't have any complaints and I don't want them. I'll tell you to buy a better one. Like I said, I can schedule your order and on the real day, before your order, while you're on the phone, or minutes after your order. I will not take an order and just go, okay, I'll call you someday when your container is going to arrive. No, part of the job is actually having that thing scheduled so I can wipe my hands clean and move on to the next thing, and I know it's scheduled. When I purchase containers from shipping lines, they have to go through inspections and they're labeled correctly. I purchase real cargo worthies. I purchase real IICL containers, and I purchase new one-trip containers. I'm not a fan of wind and watertight. Wind and watertight can be the worst container you've ever seen in your life with no holes. And if it's not sold to you correctly, you will complain. Back in the day when I first started my business, I sold wind and watertight, and I gave the customer with what they asked for. People that buy new ones, they're always happy. People that buy good used containers, 1 out of 50 people, maybe 2 out of 50 people will complain because you're selling a used product. You can't have a perfect world where you're selling good used containers. Somebody will complain about something. Then you have customers that go, well, I just want something cheap and I don't care about how it looks and just give me wind and watertight. Those people complain 9 out of 10 times because they don't know with what they're buying. So I stopped selling wind and watertight 9 years ago. But yeah, tell people the truth. Buy good used containers. Show up on the right day. Communication. If you communicate a little bit, the customer doesn't have to communicate at all because everything's done and all their questions are answered, and they know that what the next step is going to be. But when you run a shit show operation of confusion for a customer, that customer is having a bad taste in their mouth and they don't know with what's going on. So they're going to be upset, they're going to be misled, and they're going to be let down. And when there is a problem, the companies that you thought were the most known, the most reviewed, nationwide, lifetime warranties, money back refunds, you're going to find out that when there is a problem that you didn't do as a customer, they did it. They're going to run away and not be accountable and not take care of it. They don't grab the bull by its horns. They only grab the bull by its horns when it comes to selling you something. But after your order, they don't care because they're moving on to the next sale. Bad companies, unfortunately, treat their customers as profit and commissions. A good company will treat their customers as repeat business and referrals and treat them actually like a legitimate customer and care. In this industry, it is super, super rare to find a company that tells you the truth, that delivers on the right day, that shows up with a good container that is either used or new, and then communicates well. I don't know where it's in my heart or in my soul, or maybe I have OCD of why that's what I do. Because I have a choice. I could lie out my teeth, offer you false warranties, purchase crappy containers, and then just not give a shit when my container arrives. I could do that. I just don't. It's not in me. You can't pay me to lie to you. You just can't. Yesterday I took all my calls yesterday were from people that had very, very low standards. They did not want my help, and they wanted junk. I didn't make a sale on one of those containers, and it's okay because I don't want to deal with the hassles of unhappy customers buying junk. Unfortunately, with those people, they're going to learn the hard way. They're going to talk to a salesperson that's going to lie out their teeth about everything. Their container won't be delivered on the right day, and it's going to be a bad container. I tried, but they didn't want my help. But Patriot Containers does this the right way. I'm one of the best companies in America that you can actually trust, and I will do everything that you were told over the phone, and you will not feel misled at all. And again, I hate making these videos that look like sales pitches. My videos, I want to be educational, awareness, exposing, useful information that if you're buying a cargo container, you need to know this. If you feel like you don't need to know this, there is a ton of companies out there that will prey upon you to do everything wrong, but they'll take your money and then not be accountable when you thought they would be. Patriot Containers does not do this. I say we. I don't have a single employee. I tell my customers the truth. I deliver on the right day, and I show up with good products. In my eyes, what more do you want? And I communicate well. What more do you want me to do other than give you a free container? I provide a service from the very start to the very end is amazing, easy, and done the right way. If there was another company that did it like me, I would like to know who they are. Some of these companies are so bad that I get. Some of these bad companies that are ripping you guys off, they do every once in a while do everything right. I think that's luck. I think they get lucky sometimes with actually doing things right. I think these videos that I'm making, they're watching. I think the competitors that are shitty are my number one viewers on my YouTube channel. And they don't like being exposed. They don't like me studying them. They don't like me telling you what they're doing to get away with criminal sales. But in a good way, maybe my videos are teaching them how to do this right. And in the long run, these videos will clean up an industry. I highly doubt that. In this industry, and I'm going back 13 years ago, we used to work for crappy companies 13 years ago, and every bad company is exactly the same. They're always the same. You know, they have salespeople that are lying. They have delivery dates that are not accurate. Your container will not be delivered on the right day. And then they purchase crappy containers to make more profit or to be the cheapest people out there. And then when there's a problem, they just run away and they don't handle it correctly. It's horrible. So I stand against that. But this video is about what good companies do. They tell you the truth. They deliver on the right day. They provide a real service. And there was no misleading information. Everything was done correctly from the very start to the very end, and everything in the middle was good communication, and you were treated like a real customer. And if there is a problem, the company must be accountable, and they must fix that problem free of charge. And that's what Patriot Containers does. All right, guys, have a great one. Goodbye.